Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about how to deal with setting your foster teen up in the high school system with a 504, an ARD, and an IEP. So here we go. Okay. So, apologize for the lighting. It is rainy and gross and disgusting outside. I'm trying to have hot tea and it is a Wednesday and it is crazy and I am I'm exhausted. Have a lot of laundry, a lot of dishes to do. Sean and our kiddo have just headed off to our local grocery store because we're completely out of dog food. And now, apparently, our girl and I, we're going to be baking this weekend, and we have actually picked out a couple of items. So I'm going to show you guys here. 2 books that we were actually given. Well, one that was given to us, and 2 that we actually gave to her. So I'm going to show that to you guys here in just a little bit. Okay, so this was actually given to our daughter by my mom, because our daughter is just obsessed with Paris, France. One day she really wants to go. But we are pretty darn excited. Move my little pot there, but we're pretty darn excited to try to bake. There is a recipe in here that I did fold. I can't really find it right now. Well, there it is. So we're gonna try to make these this weekend. I'm very, very excited. So this is definitely something fun to do, like finding a country that they're really resonating with. This will be something really fun to do with her because this will kind of, you know, really emphasize a lot of connection time with her and really kind of help us work together on, you know, something crafty and creative. And then we bought these 2 off of Amazon and gave them to her for Christmas. So we're actually going to be baking something from this cookbook here, or baking book. And we're going to be making these this weekend. So she made a s'mores dish, which was so delicious. And so now we're going to try that this weekend, which I'm pretty darn excited about. And we haven't tried anything yet from this, but I am hoping that we can kind of pick out something kind of fun. Maybe like a little popcorn or something kind of fun for us to make. So, but these are going to be some things that we're going to try to do this weekend. And then definitely, we are going to try to drag her, I should say, to the museum because she's, we need to kind of break up our little monotony here. We got a membership as a family to the museum, and the first time we went was on New Year's Day. It was so much fun. She really had a blast. And then when I wrote down on the calendar that we were going to go this Saturday, because once you get a membership here in Houston to the Natural Science Museum, the kids are free. And the kids are free even until they're, I think, like 18 or 19 years old. It's kind of crazy. So she's 15, so I was like, woohoo. And the only thing that we have to actually pay out of pocket is for like the special events, the special exhibits, or any special events that they're hosting there. And then of course, the butterfly exhibit and things of that nature. So, or the planetarium. So she was like, why are we going to the museum? And we were like, because we need to kind of break up our humdrumness on the weekends. So today we had a 504, or as some people will say, a 504 meeting. What is a 504 meeting? Okay, so a 504 meeting typically deals with the accommodations that are needed for a child that may have a diagnosis or multiple diagnoses. This is very different than special education, which is kind of where you get into the ARD and IEP meetings. Now, we have not had to go through an ARD or an IEP with any of our kids. We've had to go through 2 different 504 meetings. We went through a 504 meeting with our foster daughter 2 years ago because she has, or at that time, she had a very severe allergic reaction to a specific insect. And so any field trips, any kind of play outside in recess, we had to, you know, sit down and meet with the staff, the nurse, and, you know, administrative staff and the nurse basically to kind of map out a plan for whenever field trips were happening, any field day events at the school, or, you know, just basic recess. So in this case, because our teen does have a few diagnoses, medical diagnoses and psychological, so because she has both, there are certain accommodations that in a 504 meeting and paperwork, accommodations that can provide her extra time on tests, can provide her different ways of taking a test, can also provide her different tools or resources that can help her read through the test, different sensory things to help her write, or she can use as a sensory tool while she's taking a test. We do plan on having her assessed by a speech pathologist and an occupational therapist, because there are some things that we have observed that we would like to see if she is actually delayed in, and if she is, then at least we'll be working with a specialist who can help us create a plan. And if those specialists, do let us know, oh yes, we do need to actually create a plan, and we do need to create different exercises to practice, or she needs these types of resources in everyday life, then we can implement that into the 504 paperwork, which that will provide her even more accommodations and resources for her time at school during the school year. I don't know if we're gonna try to go the special education route because of one of her diagnoses. We haven't really gotten there yet. We are trying to get on a waiting list. We are on a waiting list for one psychiatrist. We're going to try to get on another waiting list for another, just because we'd like to, see who's going to call first. But a psychiatrist is going to kind of help us assess where she's at, if there are any other factors that we're not really aware of, but he or she can see. And then, if there is something that psychiatrist does feel like would benefit her in the school system, then obviously we will bring that to the school counselor and to the 504 specialist coordinator at the high school that our soon-to-be daughter attends. And then at that point, we may have another meeting. We may just have a very brief conference about maybe we do need to have her assessed by the special education department. But these are things that are, they're kind of on the back burner right now, because until we actually see certain specialists, such as a speech pathologist, an occupational therapist, and a psychiatrist, those three types of specialists will allow us to, have her assess and help us understand, where are we at? Is there anything that we need to work on? Is there anything that, we need to do to help her with current struggles that she might be having? So that hopefully is to provide you some insight about, this is foster care. And even if your child isn't in foster care, these are things just to be aware of. An IEP is a more intense and more detailed plan where really it involves a lot more people in the school system. It can be very difficult, from what I've understood from other parents that we have spoken to have an IEP implemented into your child's life with the school system. If you're wondering what those acronyms mean, I don't know right now. I feel terrible about that, so I'm so sorry. But with an ARD meeting, that really does more go along the line of the special education department. And I felt very educated today by the coordinator for the 504 meeting, because she enlightened us of how difficult it is for a child to get approval for special education services nowadays. And I don't know if this is how it was back then, because my youngest brother and I used to have struggles in school. And I remember my mom was going through, and my dad was there too, going through kind of the rigmarole of getting things approved to us. So I'm very kind of curious to touch base with her and see if it was just as difficult. But at this point, we walked away feeling, I think, relieved that everybody was on the same page. We had the assistant principal, we had the school counselor, we had the 504 specialist coordinator, we had our daughter, and then of course my husband and I were there. And one of her teachers was there. It was a particular subject that she does struggle in. We got to know her, and she's just so cool. And I mean, really, everybody was just amazing. I know that a lot of people do struggle with this with their kid in the school system, especially if you are dealing with any kind of learning challenges, ADHD, ADD, any kind of behavioral differences. I mean, I understand that this, like today, probably could have been so different, but fortunately, you know, Sean and I, we just had a very positive experience, and there's Atlas back there. But we had a very positive experience, and I'm so happy about that because that really just kind of brings a sense of relief. There was even discussion about how to help our child when she's experiencing more intense anxiety or when she's feeling really low emotionally. And that is very common, especially in our children from hard places. So for you who are looking to license as a foster parent, if you are already licensed as a foster or foster to adopt parent, if you are an adoptive parent, all of you guys will probably have heard this, that anxiety and depression are really, really intense for our kids from hard places because you are compounding that with the trauma and the PTSD aspect of all of that trauma and what that does to our brain. So I was just very relieved that the adults that were also at the table with my husband and I who were taking this very seriously were very open-minded about providing our child, you know, different types of accommodations and different types of you know, grace, and not necessarily excuses, but forgiveness. So like when we have some rough mornings here and our daughter needs that extra time before she can get into school, which means that she will be late for her first period class. You know, because we have things in place in her 504 paperwork, there's a lot of grace and forgiveness with that. And her teachers are going to be more aware. And of course, that's not to say that we're not going to have any hiccups with teachers. We probably will, but this will help us provide us, you know, tools and resources and at least something to back up why, you know, there's some things occurring maybe this week versus, you know, last week. Because from week to week, day to day, as many of you foster to adopt and adoptive parents know, it is always a new day and it is always a new week, and things that happened yesterday or 7 days ago, it for some reason is not happening now. And it doesn't even mean that your routine has changed. It could be like nothing at all, just the fact that something is going on in their brain and everything happens. So I hope this was helpful for you guys today. I'm so excited for so many new subscribers. I am so excited to have you guys on this journey with us. If you have any questions, please comment down below. We are one of the very few family channels that still has comments down below. I love it. And I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear your questions. And if you would like for me to discuss something that maybe I'm not like thinking about right now, because right now we're still in survival mode. We're in those first several months where we're still adjusting. I would say we're not in that honeymoon phase anymore, but we're definitely in that what I call the newborn phase, where there's just changes happening all the time. And, you know, just when we think we're comfortable and we're secure and we've put out all the fires, there's another fire that's just started. So for all of you parents out there who can relate, you are not alone. You are absolutely not alone, and you are welcomed here. So I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye.